So let's have a little bit more of an advanced look at how we can take elements of an image out of the image and the different techniques we can use to do that. So the example we're going to use today is I'm going to take my image out of the white background so that we can place that into something else. Now the challenging part is this area around the hair, because there are lots of fine details. So if we had a multicolored background, that would be tricky. So let's have a look at how we might do that. So first thing, the main tool that we're going to use is the Lasso Tool. So we've got the Lasso Tool. So that lets me draw a circle, close the ends, and select what's inside. If I do Control Command D, it deselects. Now if I do that and then hold down the Shift key, I can add another selection to get multiple areas being selected. Control D. So that helps if we select an area but then need to select a bit more, it will add on. And then you can get Mickey Mouse. So that's how you add to your selections. If we draw a selection and we want to take a bit out because we've selected too much, you can hold down the Option or the Alt key and that will remove part of it. So then we can get a Pac-Man or Moon. Deselect. So they're the two keys that become very, very handy as you begin to select things. The Shift key to add to a selection and the Alt key or the Option to remove from a selection. So we could begin to draw along the edge of my photo, but that's not very accurate. So rather than doing that, we can go for a different tool, and that's the Magnetic Lasso Tool. So the Magnetic Lasso Tool finds the difference between two different colors and snaps to where that difference is. And we've got up the top here an important number called frequency, and this tells the tool how often to leave a marker. So if that's down very low, and if I make it something like 19, and I click and start dragging, you can see that it puts a little black box with a distance between them. So they're the points that it's using to create the selection. If we change that frequency up to 100, and I click and then start dragging, it puts those boxes in many, many more. So it makes it a much more accurate selection. So if I want to stop at this point, I'll just press Escape. I'll zoom in a little bit so we can see what, I'll use this space bar to get the hand to move the image. Then I will click, and I'm not holding it down, I'm just dragging it as close as I can to the edge that I want selected and dragging it along. And then you can see that you get a nice close selection. I'll fast forward so we've got the whole thing selected. Now that I've got to the end and I want to close it, I can double click or I can drag across and double click and it will close the selection. So here's an example where I've got a couple of spots where I need to add to it. So I'll get the Lasso tool, hold the Shift key so I can add to it and just draw a circle there. And in fact, I'm going to select all of this bottom edge so it's nice and sharp. And then I'm going to use the Option key and just delete this section over here. So then I've got a nice clean selection. So step 2 then is to save that selection, because we might want to use that again. So up in select, you can go to somewhere up here, save selection. Give it a name, outline, and click save. So what we can do here is, like we've been doing in other activities, make a new layer via copy. So let's make a new layer via copy. Boom. So then you can see, if we close out all the others, that gives us a very sharp, like we've cut it with scissors. A different way to do it is to, let's load that selection. Again, we want to outline. We want to make it blend in a little bit. So in the select menu, we can say modify and feather. So this is going to, rather than cut it like scissors, we'll make it blend out. And the radius, feather radius, is how many pixels is it going to take before it cuts it away. So let's try 3, and we'll see what that does. Then we'll do new layer via copy, and we'll see if we can see a difference. We'll zoom in a little bit, turn off that layer. So if we zoom in and put this one, that's the scissor cut, that's the feather. So it's, you can see it a little bit around the hair is where the biggest difference is. You can see it, it blends it a little bit more. So this is always a good strategy to use if you're going to put that cutout layer onto another document where there's things in the background. Rather than make it look like a cutout, then it blends in.